When I set about decluttering my home 4 years ago, I knew absolutely nothing other than Marie Kondo. And all I knew about her was that she piled stuff up. This is how I approached decluttering my house, and it was complete madness, and I had major burnout. Today, I want to talk about 10 absolutely genius decluttering tips from Dana K. White that I wish I'd known when I was decluttering my house for the first time. First, less and better are more effective goals than finished and done. I used to think that if I set into that decluttering session, I had to finish. I was panicked thinking if I let something sit for any amount of time, I wouldn't get to it. In fact, this is one of the things that stopped me from beginning the decluttering process in the first place. Fear that I wasn't going to be able to complete it. Not only the entire house, but each individual project. I set about decluttering and I would take hours exhausting myself on one decluttering session, thinking I had to complete it for it to really count, when what I should have done was take it more in stride and realize that even 5 minutes better is better, and I don't have to make it perfect. She talks about the visibility rule to gain decluttering momentum and to keep your motivation going. This is where you choose an area of your home like the entryway. It's somewhere that you see every day. You can be encouraged and motivated every single time you walk by this space. When I decluttered my house, I actually started with two major hidden areas. Number one, the pantry, and number two, my closet. I definitely benefited from these areas being decluttered, but I completely understand the value in what Dana K. White is saying, where you choose an area where every single day, multiple times, you are encouraged and you are really feeling the benefits of that decluttered space. My closet is an area that I maybe went into once a day, so I wasn't feeling that excitement, that motivation and encouragement multiple times, like if I had started somewhere like my entryway, somewhere that was more visible. So I totally get the value in this and I love it. She says, stop stuff shifting. This is where you shift and shuffle the things around your house, creating temporary homes and thinking you're decluttering. She says you are not. You are not decluttering. I think she's 100% right. I spent years of my life, I call it clutter shuffling, where you just move your clutter around the house, and because you're in action, you feel like you're actually doing something. You're making progress because you lifted the heavy totes, you went through a couple bins, and you feel like, man, I got something done. But the truth is, not creating permanent homes is definitely going to come back and bite you in the long run, because you're going to have to deal with this stuff over and over again, making repeated decisions about whether or not you should keep it, where you should keep it, and it just expends this mental energy over and over again so unnecessarily. So creating permanent homes, making absolute decisions about your stuff and not just shuffling the clutter around your house is hugely beneficial. It took me way too long to learn this lesson. She says, remove the emotion from the decluttering process by asking fact-based questions like, where would I look for this first? If you have no answer, or if you have no idea where you would look for this item first, declutter it. It is an obvious no. I love that, taking the emotion out of decluttering. This is, again, one of the things that held me back and kept me from decluttering my house for most of my life. And that is, I felt too guilty. I let guilt of how much money I spent, or the fact that it was a gift, or I really should have used this item, or I'm going to get to it someday, or I'm just not in the right phase of life right now, but I will be soon. And I let all of this guilt build up inside me, and it cost me a lot, because in the end, I had accumulated an entire house full plus storage full of clutter. Try to stay very factual, because in the end, it's just stuff. It doesn't have feelings. I always thought in order to get any area of the home decluttered, it was obviously going to get worse before it got better. And I had just kind of resigned myself to this when I set about decluttering, and it would always get 1,000 times worse before it got better. And I just thought this is how it had to be. I had no strategies for keeping this overwhelming mess from accumulating during a decluttering session. But here is what Dana K. White says. Pull one item out at a time and avoid putting things away temporarily. If it's trash, throw it away now. If you know where it needs to be relocated, go put it away now. She handles one item at a time. This is breaking things down so specifically, and I love that it's clear direction. Each item is being dealt with on the spot. It doesn't allow you to say, maybe, I don't know, I'm gonna think about it, and not take action right then. You're taking responsibility for each item in the moment, and I think that would have served me so well. Instead, I would pile up these huge heaps of items, and then I would try and deal with it in bulk. I wouldn't necessarily deal with each item individually or see it as individual items, rather one enormous decluttering project. And because I piled everything up, I would sometimes get interrupted and then have to leave this huge pile on my bed or this enormous pile on the kitchen table, and I wasn't dealing with each individual item as I went along, so I didn't necessarily feel like I was making very efficient progress. I love that this forces you to be efficient, make decisions right now, and then again, you only make that decision once. I also used to, at the end of a decluttering session, have like this giant bin or box of relocate items, and I would save it for the very end. There are multiple problems with this. Number one, by the end of the decluttering session, you are out of steam. You are exhausted and you're ending it for a reason, right? You get interrupted or you're just tired. So having this bin at the very end that you've got to deal with when you're in the middle of either complete exhaustion or distraction, it feels very unrealistic. And I did this for the longest time. It also kind of gives you a false sense of completion because let me tell you, I had this little bin, this is recently. So I had this little bin basket of Halloween decor that I just hadn't gotten around to putting away yet. So this is something that needed to be relocated to the basement. And because it was perfectly packaged, it gave me this sense of it being done. It's in a basket, the basket's cute, everything's kind of corralled together. And so it gives you this really, really false sense of it being finished. It's not done. And you will soon become clutter blind to this, just like I was for a couple of weeks, where I just let this stuff sit on my counter, not relocating it because in the back of my mind, I felt like I've already dealt with the items, when in fact I hadn't. There is another reason not to hold off things till the very end to relocate, but do it on the spot. Dana K. White has an awesome decluttering process. She says step one is remove all trash. My goodness, I wish I had done this when I was decluttering. I love this because it's obvious. It makes a difference when you look at the space. If you remove all the trash, it immediately feels better, and it's just zero brain power. It gives you that motivation to get started. You're already seeing results and you're making progress quickly, but you're not exhausting yourself. So I absolutely love step one, get rid of all the garbage. Anytime I approach a decluttering project now, I start there. She says avoid miscellaneous storage, that it gives you an excuse to keep items without an actual home. I have a bin labeled randomly lights/miscellaneous sunscreen. So let's open this up and see what's in here. Oh my gosh, rubbing alcohol. How would I know to look in here? Here's the funny thing. I like asking myself, where would I use the item most often? She generally asks, where would I look for it first? I think they're both really helpful, but I would never use rubbing alcohol in my game closet, which is where this bin is stored. Little puck lights, some Goo Be Gone. That I would not use in the closet either. A pair of pliers. Here's the funniest thing about this. There are no lights in here. There's absolutely no sunscreen. And there's only a few items that I can think of off the top of my head exactly where to store these so that they will be useful to me. Dana is so right. Look at what a waste of space and time this is for me to have this random miscellaneous bin. So as soon as I'm done filming this, I'm gonna put these items in actual homes and get rid of this little miscellaneous. I can use this bin for something else. Dana says, after you have fully decluttered your bathroom, you are going to check it for clutter every single day, specifically the bathroom. You're gonna relocate your toothbrush, put it away, the hairbrush, the lotion, the makeup, everything that you've used. You are going to clear off the counter, and if it belongs on the counter, that's fine, but go ahead and put everything from the bathroom away. I love that this is keeping you in good habits, and you're always being a clutter gatekeeper. It's very, very easy to leave stuff out that you know that you can easily put away in just a few minutes. I have gotten caught in this trap before thinking, oh, I'll just set this down and do it later because it'll just take me a minute. I believe if you handle the item, you should put it away right then, because then again, you're not shuffling clutter around your house and just moving things from one area to the next, feeling productive because you're taking action, but you're not really taking efficient action or action that will make a difference. Dana says, use correct decluttering supplies. This includes a black garbage bag, which yes, 1000% I agree. Your family cannot see inside the bag and neither can you. And trust me, when you are decluttering, it is so tempting to go back through and pick and pull things back out of that bag. This is taking up steam, energy, brain power, and time. Forget it. Use a black garbage bag, stuff everything inside, then you can't second guess. I also love that Dana suggests using a donatable donation box. She says if you don't do this and you use a really lovely basket or bin, you might be really tempted to keep that bin. How hard is it gonna be now to have to dump everything back out, start over, find a new box, find a new bin? You're just backtracking. So much better to just use an actual donatable box, and then you don't have to touch or handle the items at all. You're just gonna hand them straight over. I would like to add, this is me personally. If you don't have black garbage bags or a donatable donation box, do not let this stop you from beginning. If you're feeling excited, motivated, you have the energy and time, go ahead and use what you have. But I totally agree that getting yourself set up with the correct supplies absolutely helps you move forward and be as completely efficient as possible. Dana KY used her extra salad tongs as laundry tongs. Guys, if you are short, I'm not even 5'3". It is so hard to get into the bottom of the washer and get the socks, the rags, let's be honest, the pants, anything that's down there is so hard to reach. So if you have an extra pair of laundry or salad tongs, turn them into laundry tongs. These have a designated hook in the laundry room, and it is absolutely brilliant. Way to think outside the box, Dana. I use this every day. She also talks a whole lot about the container concept. This is where you are only allowed to keep what actually fits in your container. I like applying this to little bins like this one, but actually your entire house is a container. You're not allowed to keep things spilling over. This is all my keepsakes from my kids. Little pictures they've drawn and photographs. So what I need to do is go through this, make sure everything truly is a treasure. And maybe what I need to do is have one basket for each child. That's totally fine as long as it fits. Whatever is beyond that, if I want to keep something else, I have to get rid of one of the pages. I have to do the one in, one out rule from here. I will have Dana's book, Organizing for the Rest of Us, linked in the description below. Thank you so much for joining me today. I'll catch you soon. Bye.